Hey guys, Trey coming at you here for this week's TLA, and I am coming to you from sunny and hot Plano, Texas, here in the Shops of Legacy at the Marriott Hotel. And I'm so excited for this little TLA because I just saw you several days ago, and now here we are jamming with with the next level of our training and development. And as a reminder, guys, we're working on the critical 6 areas of our life. We're going to be talking today a little bit more about the relationship building side, and we're going to be digging into some of the profiles for CVI. Talk a little bit about that conflict management strategy. I don't feel like we truly developed that at Local Prep. Then we're going to talk about the intro and company section of the group interview, and it's going to be a fun, maybe a little bit shorter TLA than normal, just due to the fact that obviously we are running a little bit behind with the start time, but I still feel it'll be informative and be worth your while, and I'm excited to dig in there. So what I wanted to talk about again was the whole concept of conflict resolution and how to make sure that you're handling conflicts the right way. I found that so much of our business in retention is relationship management and handling people's relationships with the manager in the right way. And that really starts with the way that you handle communication. And more importantly, how do you handle conflict, right? How do you make sure that everybody's on the same page? So I want to review those ground rules to conflict resolution, especially as you start working within I guess a family, or you start working within an office where you're spending hours and hours and hours around each other. It's very natural for disagreements and conflicts to come up. And a lot of times things will simmer kind of below the surface and get in the way of your ability to move forward with meaningful and exciting progress and growth in your organization. So let's talk about those ground rules. So whenever there is conflict, the number one ground rule for managing and selling conflict is that each person, when you see tension start to get high, you remind yourself that overall when emotions are high, tensions are high, logic tends to be low. If you're talking CVI terms, that's when you tend to kind of get into, it's when you get into kind of that conflict strategy, right? Which is obviously not exciting. Because that's where you start to get into the worst version of yourself. We talk about in Leadership Academy, trying to become the best version of yourself. Well, unfortunately, when you get into times of high emotion, high energy, negativity is when your conflict strategy tends to come out. For those of you that are builders, the builders in the room, that's when your intimidation tactics start to come out. For those of you that are high merchants, that's when you start to manipulate, right? And there's different strategies behind the manipulation, but manipulation starts to happen. For those of you that are high innovators, you start to interrogate, which is obviously not exciting. And then lastly is for those that are bankers, you start to kind of become aloof, right? You pretend to not know anything in an effort to try to kind of just gain the upper hand on your quote unquote opponent or your person that you're going against. And I guess the most interesting thing is that most people, when in conflict, they don't think about the simple fact that everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to enjoy their family life. Everybody wants to enjoy their business life. Everybody wants to enjoy their personal life. Everybody wants to be happy, right? I don't think anybody wakes up saying, hey, I want to be miserable. That's not that exciting. So the conflict starts to happen when emotions get high, people start to disagree. In an effort to move towards a common progress, you end up seeing things differently, and then ultimately you start to get to these disagreement levels where you quote unquote have had the last straw with somebody, or quote unquote just it just won't work, or I'm at the end of my rope, or whatever the case is. So the ground rules for conflict strategy amongst coworkers, family members, teammates, whatever you want to call it, staff members are as such, right? You need to have somebody, if it's that bad, there needs to be a facilitator. And if there's not a facilitator, you need to facilitate it yourselves, but you still need to start with the same basic ground rules. So number one, when one person speaks, the other listens. So you allow somebody to finish their thought, and that becomes very difficult, I have found, especially with your builders. What I mean by your builders is that your builders are the ones that try to tend to cut you off in an effort to intimidate or to in the upper hand. So making sure that you allow each person to talk without being interrupted, no matter how different that opinion may be than they are. See, because the reality is people don't give their opinion. They don't state their fact from a purpose of trying to to be wrong. Nobody goes into a disagreement and says, "Oh, I want to be wrong in this disagreement." That's very unusual for that to happen. That you usually have severe depression issues if that's the case. They want to be right. They want to be accurate. They want to be intelligent. And they want to be sound of mind. Okay, and so no matter how quote unquote wrong, inaccurate, stupid, or irritating that statement may be, you want to make sure that you allow them to finish. The second thing is making sure that you give every person the opportunity to say everything they want to say. So that's the second thing. The third one is taking notes on the major points. So what that means is that if things are rough, making sure that you're writing down, each person writes down the major points being expressed by each other person that's involved in that conflict, right? If somebody participates or repeats a complaint, accusation, or other point more than twice, facilitator acknowledges that point's been covered and also asks each other person hear the point that happens. The truth is only yes or no answers should be accepted there. Number 4 is once each person has an ability to speak, you then have each person remind the other individual of what their lack of what their secondary ineffective strategy is, or their ineffective strategy, their conflict strategy is, or the tactic that they use in order when their core value gets into disagreement, what's going to happen. For example, if somebody is a high merchant, they got to remind, hey, look, I understand I tend to try to manipulate when things happen there. And the reason they're trying to do this is so you understand why the person is coming from where they're coming from. Okay, so then once each person has kind of explained all of their challenges, all their complaints, all their issues, they then state how they tend to respond when they're in times of conflict. And then after that, you return to the list of each person and you go back to it and you list them all together and you make sure that every party agrees that all of these are the points. And once all these points, you then go through each participant and ask them if they've heard it and to what degree they may be accountable for whatever concerns the other person has. That's step 6. The last question there is the question to ask yourself, is there anything else that you'd be willing to do to improve your relationship with that person in an effort to make it work? Step 7 is to repeat steps 5 and 6, which is basically where, again, you have each person list the concerns expressed. You acknowledge that each person understands the concern and ask to what degree they're responsible for that concern. And you keep going through it until all the concerns have been resolved. Then once that happens, you list any concerns that may be unresolved and you adjourn the meeting. So that's step 8. So after step 7 is repeating steps 5 and 6 to make sure all parties have been heard. Step 8 is to make sure if there's any concerns that have been unresolved, you adjourn it, understanding that each person is going to think about it and then come back to try to improve the effectiveness of their relationship. And then after that, you reconvene a few days later and repeat steps 1 through 9 until really all issues have been resolved. Okay, and then and so that is the goal there. So 9 is just reconvening a few days later, repeating all the steps until all issues are resolved. So sometimes that takes a while. Now the unfortunate situation is that if people aren't willing to reconvene, or if they're unwilling to be open to it, or if they feel that that the other person is going to be intimidating beyond hope for an open and candid discussion, you either separate people so they don't have to relate, you terminate them, or you actually ask them to take steps further into requiring obtaining professional counseling. Okay? And I know you guys all have that conflict resolution matrix. One of the things that I think can help is that a lot of times when somebody is trying to communicate, right, what ends up happening is that they'll end up doing things in a way that they think they're trying to intend a reaction to take place, and then people hear it in a different way based on their strategy. So, for example, if a merchant is intending to, if a builder is talking to a merchant and they're tending to show them that they're in charge, a lot of times the merchant will receive it as you're incompetent. If they're talking to an innovator, if a builder is saying, I will decide, a lot of times the innovator takes it as, you're just foolish. If a banker is in conflict and they're trying to say, I'm going to act, the builder's saying, hey, I'm going to act, the banker is receiving that builder's message as, hey, your knowledge is just not that important. So we're going to talk about that conflict strategy next time we get together divisionally. But what I want to do is talk about how, when you're interacting with your customer or with your representatives, and when you're interacting with your trainees in interaction, there are some things that you can do to make sure that you're addressing people's core values, especially at the very beginning of the conversation. Okay, and so what I mean by that is that if you're interacting and you're working with somebody who is a builder, okay, one of the things that you can say kind of with a builder that works really well is just tell them why they're good based on their results. Explain to them why they're powerful. Understanding that a builder is somebody who is high power driven. You don't need to chit chat too much with them or sugarcoat things. You need to be as real as possible and as forceful as possible. You got to compliment quick decisions, to act and take initiative. Talk about where they stand in the office, right? And use, say, hey, I know, blank, you're only blank away for your next promotion. Now, I do also want to let you know, by the way, that, the Doug is getting close to you and I don't want them to beat you, so if you're talking to somebody who is a high builder, letting them know where they stand constantly is big for them. Sending them snapshots, showing them where they're related to, where they're ranked amongst the office. That's a great way to drive a builder. Okay, if you're working with a merchant, one of the big keys with a merchant is try not to criticize them too much. Okay, for example, just ask them how life is. Okay, for example, if they start talking about vector at first, shift the conversation to non-vector first, and then go into it. Okay. Letting them know how important they are. They're a big part of a merchant is being loved, right? Hey, I just wanted to let you know how big a part of the team that you are, and another great phrase you can throw in with the merchant is, hey, I just had time to talk and I wanted to connect with you a little bit. Okay, share all the good things about them and why you make the team and why they make the team better. That's another great thing to do. Recognize their weekly contributions. Asking them this question, hey, I just want to make sure we have a great working relationship. What can I do to make it any better or even better? Okay. Talking about, all the endless possibilities in the job and all the exciting memories that this summer or this campaign will mean for them. One of the big things with a merchant is painting the vision. So painting the long-term vision with them is big for merchants. That's honoring a core value. When you're working with an innovator, you got to value their ideas and thoughts. Like, hey, I just want to let you know that I appreciate the wisdom that you're bringing to the office, and point out examples of things that they bring to the office. Perhaps it's a new way of thinking about the phone approach, right? Or a new way of tracking their stats, or things that are making a big difference. An innovator is also, hey, another great thing with innovators, hey, what do you think about, and then throw out the weekly team meeting idea or the workshop that you're planning on running, or improving the atmosphere, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe if there's a theme that you're thinking about, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, I feel like your opinions are important, so feel free to share them with me, is another great phrase to use with innovators. Another thing could be with an innovator. Hey, what do you think would be best for us to talk about on this call? One of the things that helps out with an innovator is, hey, what can I do to better serve you as a leader? Letting them know, hey, I love your ideas and your creativity. I think our team will benefit greatly from that. Okay, so this is, again, conversations that you're leading into with an innovator, valuing their ideas, their thoughts, their critical thinking ability. If somebody's high banker, big thing with banker is making sure that you see the details of why they're good, right? So basically, you need to remind them of why they're so good. They're a big stats person. So, hey, I bet you knew this, but you're only blank away from your next promotion. Hey, I noticed your closing percentage, or hey, I noticed your average order. Hey, I noticed your PDI, the fact that you've been checking in the best, right? You've been checking all the time. And then recognize the information that they bring to the team. Acknowledging whatever their goals that they've set for themselves are, and letting them know that they're critical to the team goal of whatever it may be for the week. Also, hey, I want to give you everything that you need to succeed and really help you accomplish all of your goals here. So people that are high bankers, they need a lot of the details of why they're good, and an effort to try to help them, giving them details on why they want to do well, give them simple tips a lot for bankers. Innovators, it's kind of helping them to come up with their own solutions. Merchants, it's really just trying to connect. And with builders, it's not telling them what to do, but make them feel like they already know what to do, in an effort to help them feel confident about going to do it. So, so those are just some little things that you can do with PDI. With bankers, as you're working and checking and connecting with them, being very clear at the end of the conversation about the next step. Innovators, it's about answering all their questions, making sure they got all their questions answered. With merchants, it's kind of making sure that you're really connecting with them deeply at the end. And then, and then with builders, it's just, again, making sure you're straight to the point, what the next event is, getting them friggin' fired up, jacked up right before they get off the phone call, straightforward, not trying to intimidate them at all, helps out a lot. So those are just some little tips on connecting with people that are already, or if you once their key result area, or their core value, you start to address them, right? We talked about how to identify them at the weekly prep, or at the divisional prep. So make sure that you utilize that to help connect with people. Also, guys, have them take the test. If they're in your organization, having them take the test, it lets them know, hey, look, this is a way for me to help honor whatever your core value is. I want to make sure that I'm the best manager possible for you. So if you answer this test honestly and authentically, I'm going to work with you in the best possible way that you need in order for you to be successful here and to enjoy your time working with here. Okay. So guys, those are just a couple little things there on connecting with your people. Okay. Now, from a management training standpoint, we've given out the group interview. We've already kind of walked through the objectives of it. But what I want to do now is kind of walk through the group interview itself and talk about the whys. Okay, not just the whys, but kind of the tonality, and that you're going to want to make sure you're accomplishing in each section of the interview. So let's start by talking about the intro and the company section. So if you go and pull out your link that you've got in your TLA Leadership Academy program, if you go to that Labor Day prep, you're going to see the interview is in there, and the group interview 2016 is in there. Okay, and so at the very beginning, when you're seating people, you bring people up. Okay. Hopefully they've already been prepped properly to have pen and paper, right? This is not a religious rite, but you got it. Okay, so hopefully everybody has pen and paper. You have them bring it up, and you have them grab a seat around the group table. Okay, and the way that you want to seat people is exactly where you want. Your sharpest in the middle, next to sharpest on the sides of them, spreading out, going to the next row if you need to. Least sharp person being the person that they're getting your back as you're turning to click on the screen. Okay. For the way that you want to stand confidently, feet shoulder width apart. Okay, not leaning and rocking too much. Hands placement, guys. Hand placement's big. You want your hands to either be holding, for example. You could be holding the the interview script just like this, okay? And then when you're done, you hold it, and then this way you could point to things if you need to, and you can kind of hold the interview script just like this. You can hold it like this if you need to when you're brand new. Again, they don't know what you're supposed to say or how you're supposed to say it, so you could just simply you take it and put it to the back, put it to the side, right? You can. You know, I like to have it kind of listed so it's all on front, but not back, okay? If you got your interview front and back, it's kind of obnoxious because then what you're having to do is you're having to flip each page and then turn it over. If it's all just printed out on front side only, when you're done with the page, you just slip it to the next and then you keep moving on. Plus, the other thing is if people are sitting facing you, they're not going to be reading the section of the interview you've just covered, okay? So you've got it all printed on the front side. You can close it up when you need to make a point, open it up when you need to read through it. The ideal setup, guys, is that when you're reading through it, you go through and you read the top line, and then that gives you the ability to go over the rest of the paragraph, okay? So after placing everybody where you sit them, you say, okay, so we're going to get started. Does everybody have pen and paper? Raise your hand if you need either of these two. Right? Most of them don't. Okay, all right, so I'll go ahead and grab a seat right here, boom, boom, boom. Then once you do start, you say, well, as you know, my name is Trey Ketchum, and I'm the owner here in the Northeast Atlanta office, which puts me in charge of some of the recruiting processes here in the Gwinnett County and surrounding areas here in Atlanta. As I mentioned earlier, what we just went through is a brief pre-screening process, and you were the ones that decided to spend a little bit more time with today. And I know I'm going to spend 30, 45 minutes to explain the details of the position, the pay, the perks, and things like that. At the end, I'll meet with each of you individually, and I'll either bring you aboard to the team and let you know why you've been selected, or if not, I'll let you know why not, and I'll give you a few tips for your job search. Obviously, I'll be using my notes today, so I recommend you take notes as well. And I'll just literally hold up my paper like that. That way, it gets them all taking notes. My first question for all of you is, why do you think I run this part in a group interview? Or why do you think I have this part of the interview in a group? Okay. And the usual thing that they're going to answer is, to see how we act in a group setting, or to do that. If they've been prepped properly, they're going to say, yeah, so that we see how we interact. Okay. You say, yeah, it allows me to also compare you guys against each other and also to save me some time. As I explain the details of the position, I'll be asking a lot of questions. I'll base most of the decisions today on this part of the interview. Obviously, your applications and previous experience do matter, but I'm mainly looking for interaction and engagement. And this allows me to accept the right people for the position. Now, how many of you have ever had a job where you accepted, but you didn't know exactly what you'd be doing? Okay, well, I know how some companies operate this way. Well, I found my representatives are much more comfortable when they know exactly what they're going to be doing. So here's actually what I'm going to be covering today. And then you just turn and you're going to click, okay? And when you do is you click, you step to the side, you let it load, and then you step in front, okay? So I'm going to cover the company, the product, the pay, the market, training, and perks. And like I said, I'm going to cover everything. So to save some time, if you have any questions, hold them till the end. And make sure you write them down. And if you have the opportunity to ask them when we meet one-on-one when I give you my final decision, okay? Now, when I first started the company, I began where each of you are sitting right now. In fact, everyone in the company is promoted within, even the presidents, okay? As far as the company goes, I'm sure many of you guys know that a lot of companies are owned by larger corporations. Our parent company is the Cutco Corporation, which was started in 1949 and is located in Olean, New York. Vector was started in 1981 to handle the marketing of Cutco products. And to give you a little insight, Vector in 1981 did $750,000 in business, and now we've grown to a $200 million marketing company, okay? And so then that's where you ask a direct question to usually your sharpest person in the group or the second. You want to make sure you're asking specific questions by name to your sharpest people. And so so you just go right in front. So you're saying, Jeff, what are some advantages to work for a company that's growing? Okay. If they get the answer wrong, do not try to say, yeah, you're right. Just say, no. Does anybody want to help them out? and just go to the next person. Or hey, you know, Ben, do you want to go ahead and help them out? So you go to the next person and ask them for their help. Okay, and the answers you're looking for are advancement, opportunity to grow, and also job security. So our people have the security of a job with the opportunity to grow with the company. As far as our corporate structure goes, we have 6 regions. This office is part of the Eastern region. To break it down even further, it's part of the Georgia division. And to show you how the Gwinnett County office fits in, it's just one of over 300 offices nationwide. Now, we do work with a wide variety of people. As a matter of fact, here in the Gwinnett office, we have all different types of people on our team, from students, young professionals, career professionals, people looking for supplemental income. Okay, for example, we have some students that we've worked with, blank, 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 or there's full-time students of our team. Most of them work around their schedule, part-time, while they go to school at either UNG or Georgia Gwinnett College. And we enjoy working with students because they're used to learning, they're naturally attracted to our program, and because of the flexibility and perks that they provide. Our company does have an academic advisory board. It consists of a group of college professors who help our company with a strong educational point of view in training our people. The local professor that we work with is Dr. Joseph Hare, who's a marketing professor at Kennesaw State. He teaches a few of their business ethics classes. Vector also has an internship co-op program and a scholarship program as well. And so some of our students are able to obtain college credit while working with us. And we do also award over $160,000 in scholarships to students and universities every year. In addition to that, like I said, we work with career professionals. So for example, Sarah Mashburn, she's a full-time career professional who graduated from the University of South Florida 10 years ago and was #2 in the company for many years. Okay, and then supplemental income, we have Lauren Horton, who's semi-retired. He kind of works with Cutco just a few days a week to help supplement his retirement income from working for the airline and being in the military. And so it really just depends on what somebody has going on in their schedule as to what type of role these people end up playing here in the office. Okay? And so when the company was founded, we made several key decisions as to how we were going to run our business. And I think it's important that you guys know a few of them. You click. The first decision that company made was to only manufacture high quality products. Okay, now, Matt, why do you think we chose to only manufacture high quality products? Yep, exactly. When you have a high quality product, it stands on its own. The second key decision is that the company made was to run our products in a low key manner. Okay, for example, if any of you guys ever, been approached at a car lot and approached by a pushy salesperson, yeah, how does that tend to make you feel? Exactly. So this is exactly why we don't pressure our customers. Instead, we educate them on why our product line is #1 in North America. We've had customers that have been with us for 30, 40, 50 years, and it's because of the way they're dealing with it. As a matter of fact, we have over 19 million customers, so dealing with them ethically is very important to both myself and everybody else here in the office. Okay. #3, the third decision we made was the corporate philosophy of honesty and integrity. For example, Rich, how does a customer feel when they're misled about a product? Okay? Yep. Yep, they're let down. Okay, so honesty and integrity is important throughout the corporation, from the top all the way down to our representatives. And it's important with me as well as I make decisions as to who I'm going to work with. The fourth key was how to market our products. Right? And as you know, we chose to market our products by appointment basis only. We did that for a few key reasons. For example, Scott, what happens to the price of a product each step that the product takes from the factory to the store? Yep, it's going to go up. And with a high quality product, it's going to be more expensive or less? Yeah, it's going to be more. Okay, and so non-store retailing is becoming a very popular way of marketing products through both internet, catalogs, and we've actually found that the most professional way of dealing with our customers is to deal with them directly. And I'll explain exactly how this works when I go over the market section of the interview. The fifth decision that we made was how to pay our people. And we decided to pay people a lot more than other entry-level jobs because it allows us to work with higher caliber applicants. For example, Larry, how are most salespeople paid? Yeah, they're paid commissions, right? So what may end up happens when they're paid that way? Well, how might they treat their customers? Yeah, exactly what we just said not to do, right? And so we actually have a 2-part pay program. We have a guaranteed base rate of pay to ensure that we have a low-key, laid-back approach. And then we do also have an incentive rate so that our people who do perform have an opportunity to earn even more. And we'll actually cover that in more detail when we go over the pay section of the interview. Okay? And so guys, those are the first two sections of the interview. Now, the product section is a part where you really need to kind of learn it without having to use your notes. But I will say the most important thing to learn is going to be the experience side. And this is where you really can kind of convey your excitement, your energy, and your confidence for the business and for the company. And so we're going to skip that next section. I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but we're going to skip the product and the market, and also skip the pay and training, and we're going to go directly down to perks. Okay. Now I know that may seem kind of weird that we're kind of skipping around like this. However, the reason I want to make sure that we're doing this is I want to get time practicing the perks. I think the strong start, strong finish is critical. And then next week, what we're going to do is we're going to work on the remainder of training. So we're going intro, company, and benefits and perks. So then after you've gone through, you go to the end, here's how you cover the benefits and the perks. Okay. So you say another perk is our sample program. And on the third day of training, the company actually loans each representative a product sample kit that's valued at $430 that they can use as long as they're working with the company. There's no deposit or upfront costs associated with it. However, we do require that the representative provide 3 references that can vouch for their character. So is it pretty easy to see why we can't work with everybody? Absolutely. Okay, another perk is the pay. Our representatives have the security of the guarantee and the opportunity to earn more with the incentive. And with tuition and bills that pile up, it really definitely helps out with that. Okay? The third is going to be the advancement. They also have the opportunity to advance with the company based on their results. For example, we have our representatives in our local office that have been promoted to assistant managers within 2 to 3 months of starting with the company because we're growing. The fourth one is going to be the experience. And I really do feel that no matter how much somebody makes, the most important thing that they're going to get is going to be experience. Because if you think about it, Legend, after all, what are most employers looking for? Yeah, they're looking for experience. And also, Jeff, how do they get experience without a job? Yeah, so that's the catch-22 that a lot of young people find themselves in. See, most interviewers, when looking at an application, they only look through that application for about 8 seconds. You know, and think about it, Jeff. When employers are looking through those applications, what are they looking for? Yeah, they're looking for experience. Experience that qualifies that applicant for the job, but also experience that helps stand out from other applicants in that pool. You know, and what happens is that most people have similar resumes that they have had the same types of jobs: stores, restaurant, labor jobs, office work, internships, volunteer works, and really jobs that everybody else has done and doesn't really help to stand out in those 8 seconds on a resume. And so our people here at Vector, they get the type of experience that does stand out and will help them in any career that they desire, because we focus on the practical skills like time management, goal setting skills, people skills, presentation, and communication skills. These are the types of skills that they're going to need in any professional environment and future endeavors. So working with Vector looks really good on a resume. In fact, many people and former representatives have said that it's the single most important factor in getting their current job. And I know that Northwestern Mutual and John Hancock Financial have both stated that whenever they see Vector on a resume, it guarantees them a second interview. And I will say that if you don't get a chance to work with us, I would suggest that you do get a position like this that helps get you the experience and skills that you need. And if you do get a chance to work with us, I will say the number one reason why I'm still working here is because of the people that I work with. You know, I will say I love working here. You know, I'll make this pretty simple for you. I love my team more than anything else. I'm not going to lie, but the pay is pretty good and the experience I have on my resume is awesome. My favorite part about the job is the team. With all the experience that I've gained while working with Vector, the main reason why I've continued to move up with the company is because of the people. I really feel that if you surround yourself with the right type of people, that you'll automatically get pushed in the right direction. And I'm sure you could tell by all the office trophies and the awards here that we do pretty well. But specifically, this office has got some major goals this year to be the #1 office in the Eastern region. And we have some important goals, and everybody's going to play a role. And I can't speak for every other Vector office because there's over 300 year-round. But I will say that here in the Gwinnett office, it means something to be a part of this team. I take a lot in the pride of people that we work with, and we really focus here on being the right types of reps, which means that they work hard, they have a lot of fun, they're confident, and above all, they pursue holistic growth. And so this is why it's so important that we select the right people, because we're working together with them as a team to achieve these goals. And so I'm really looking for people that not only want to be successful individually, but they do also want to help build up those around them and also help to build the team. And so those are really the details of the position. And so what I'm going to have each of you guys do is answer a few more questions for me on the sheet of paper. Now, what I want you to do is answer the yes/no questions first. Save the short answers here for last, because that's when it takes the longest and it's the easiest for me to just ask you why we're meeting with you one-on-one. What I do want you to put a focus here is on the team building section. What I want you to do is kind of brainstorm for people that you think might be looking for work or need a job, but also people you think would do well if given a chance. I recommend 5 to 10. You may use your cell phones for that part if you want to, but because I know nobody has numbers memorized anymore anyway. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I do ask that if you do get done before I meet with you, that there's no talking. Be polite and courteous to those around you. Also, just because you finish doesn't mean that others have. So I want to let you know that I'm not going to be meeting with anybody in any particular order. First or last has no bearing on my decision. Now, I do encourage you to work hard on this, as this will be the last chance for you to make a final impression. And so no matter what does happen, I do want to wish each of you guys the best of luck individually here in the future. Okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and spread you guys out. And then what you do is just actually spread them out throughout the interview room, and then let them start working on their application or their acceptance sheet. Okay? And so guys, that is the first half and last section of the group interview. I focused on those because those are the parts that are very easy to learn and kind of get memorized, so to speak. You're not having to talk about anything super sensitive like pay or review the product or all that. So that's why I wanted to focus on this one. And I want to make sure that we're role playing and drilling for skill. I will say that the key purposes of each of these sections, right? The part of the perks that's so critical is building your passion for the team. When you can show and get your people can see that you love your team and that you're excited about recruiting, and you're excited about working with the right types of people. That really helps you out tremendously in accomplishing that key requisite of, hey, I want to work with this person. See, people show for 2 reasons. They feel like they can do the job, and they would like to work with the person that's interviewing. This shows that you have a pride and a passion about working with the people here. That means that you're a level above. You've got a mystique to you, but people that work with you, they also become a level above. Okay, so that's really kind of the purpose of that person, that you're going to help separate them, make them a badass if they end up getting the opportunity to work with you. That kind of is what happens during some of those perks section. The purpose of the introduction is to establish control, and also to let them know kind of how the whole process is going to go. That goes into the whole ethos part of the of connecting. And if you want to persuade somebody, ethos is so critical. That's the, can I trust this person? So one of the best ways to establish that trust, let them know who you are, and also give them a clear direction as to what they're going to learn about during the group interview. Purpose of the company is to hit on those key questions, which is, what exactly am I going to be doing? Now, you elaborate on each of those, but you also, with the company section, let them know who we are and why we do what we do, basically. That's kind of what's happening during that company section. So if you think about it from that, so during the intro, if you establish control. During the company section, they know who we are, and more importantly, so establishing credibility, right? And also letting them know why we do what we do. That's critical for the company section. And then the perks is, why is this going to make me a badass? Why is this so valuable to me? Basically, the what's in it for me section of the group interview. That's what's happening during each of those key parts. So I know you guys have probably already drilled for skill this a little bit, but if you haven't, with the last 15 minutes or so of TLA today, I want to make sure you do drill for skill that one more time. Get this section down, at least do the intro and company section one more time, so you can get confident with that. And to give you a couple of tips on practicing this the right way, make sure, guys, that when you're doing this, that you're actually doing this like you would do it in a group interview. Sometimes I found that some people, they practice this thing kind of reading it out loud, especially during TLA, they'll read it across the desk from each other. That's shit. That doesn't work, guys. You want to be standing up, presenting it like you're the one giving it, and like you're professional, right? Like you're actually running an interview. So you want to be standing up in front of ideally in front of a TV, so you can get comfortable turning and pretending to click. If not in front of a TV, standing up, have a simulated TV, it could be a blue book that's posted up. It could be a poster that's going to be your quote unquote TV, but you just you turn and click, and you do it that way in order to make sure that you're getting confident and comfortable with having the presence, getting up in front of a group, not pacing, not throwing in fillers. Those are the things that are so critical to the effective delivery of your message. So again, the tendency, especially when you get in front of a group, is to read quickly, slow it down, and treat it like you were trying to explain it, especially when it comes to things like pay and in the market section, which we're going to do next week. It's important that you make sure that the pay is crystal clear to a third grader. It needs to be something anybody can understand and explain. Okay, so guys, those are some of the tips I've got for you as far as key events. Next TLA, divisional TLA prep is going to be September 24th. But before that even happens, guys, we've got the SLC push coming, where every single office is going to be competing against each other in the nation. So all the offices in the Eastern region, all the office on a national scale, everybody's going to be competing against each other. That starts on the 20th, guys, and goes for those 2 weeks. So, let's make sure that we are bringing the energy these next basically 10 days to get ourselves equipped and prepared. We're going to be interviewing people, and I want to get people signed up to be a part of our SLC Alliance group. The SLC Alliance are going to be people that are committed to 3-hour phone jams on Sunday and Wednesday, as well as getting another small phone jam in throughout the week at a minimum. We're going to be having people going for 3K, 5K, and 10K pushes. And so we'll be signing people up for that. I am going to ask that every Leadership Academy member definitely steps up and sells at least $1,000. And guys, that's $500 a week. It's not that much. Even if you don't work hard any other time during during Leadership Academy to sell this fall, this is it. Now and only in are the 2 times. Okay? So I want everybody to step up for that. Also, this is the last shot. It'll be the last couple weeks to step up for that Charleston trip. I know we have several people that have qualified for Charleston already. I know we've got a few people that are working on getting PRs so they can get the PR credit to help them go along with their sales. But guys, the SLC push is just a great excuse to step up and work hard so you can get fatter paychecks, so you can help build your startup, so you can make a statement on your matrix score. Be on the lookout later this week, probably tomorrow or Friday, for all of the scores from this past Saturday, as well as an announcement about the current startup totals. So if you've not gone on your startup goal, let's start withholding a percentage of your sales so that can go towards your career sales and your startup to help make a statement for what you're going to be doing next summer. So thanks, guys, for your time. Have an awesome evening. It is Wednesday night, so great phone jam night. Team meeting's about to start here in probably 15 or 20 minutes, but looking forward to getting some hot updates. Feel free to send them my way via email. And thanks again, as always, for being on and your energy and attention. So remember, no excuses, play like a champion. See ya.